everybody, and welcome to my show. Today we're going to be making homemade empanada dough, and we're going to start out with all-purpose flour, about 3 cups. We're going to add 1 stick of cold butter cubed, and we're going to use our hands or a pastry cutter to be able to really get this butter worked into the flour. So that way it gets nice and crumbly and it kind of becomes a little bit like sand. You'll also need an egg and some salt and some warm water. Right now I don't have a pastry cutter, so I'm going to be mixing this with my hands and just get it to be kind of like almost like sand. It's just going to be a little you want to see those little bitty chunks of butter in there, and you're going to want to mix it thoroughly so that all the butter is worked through the flour. Next, I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of salt. I use Himalayan pink salt. That's the salt that I prefer, and it's going to give it a really good flavor. You want to make sure that you're mixing that in thoroughly into your flour, and also make sure that you wash your hands in between every use. Now, once you have it all mixed, you want to make sure your flour is clumping together like that and holding together. That makes you know that you have your butter mixed well. Then I'm going to add in, I added actually 2 cups of, or 2 half cups, which would have been a cup of warm water, 1 egg, and with this butter, and stir it up. The recipe only called for a half a cup of water, but then I ended up needing more because it wasn't enough, so I ended up using a full cup of warm water. So you're going to want to mix this up together really good until it becomes a nice firm ball. Then you're going to want to knead it for about 5 to 7 minutes until everything is incorporated, and it really doesn't stick to the counter at all, so you don't have to put any flour down, and I have a marble type countertop, so it works well. Then you're going to divide it out. I use a pastry cutter to divide out the dough, and I got about 17 balls, about the size of a golf ball. Then I use my little rolling pin, because you got to have the little rolling pin, works best, to flatten it out. And then I filled it, and I made a homemade taco meat, but you can really fill it with anything. I also take warm water on my fingertips and I run it around the edge of the empanada so that it's going to seal it really well. The next step, I'm going to fold over the top, make sure I get all my meat tucked inside there really well, and kind of press down the edges with my fingertips. You want to make sure you keep everything in there good and tight. Then I'll come in with my fork and I'm going to crimp the edges. And these aren't the prettiest empanadas. I didn't promise they were going to be pretty. I promised they're going to taste really good. So I seal up the edges, and then I prick the top of the empanada with the fork so that there's an air vent. And I put them in the oven at 375 for about 11 to 15 minutes until they're golden brown. These are also great fried. The next thing I'm doing here is canning, and I have put in my roaster a chicken carcass with some carrots and celery and onion and some peppercorns and salt all day, and it's made this beautiful broth. Now I'm wiping the lids with some white vinegar to make sure that it's going to have a nice seal, that no grease is getting on the lid, and I'm going to put the lid on the top of the can and seal it with the ring until it's finger tight. You want to make sure that you wipe the top of the ring off with white vinegar also on a little paper towel. So doing this also, I can make really great homemade chicken broth for pennies on a dollar with a leftover carcass, and I stock it in my canning closet year round, and it really saves me a lot of money, and it also is very, very convenient for me whenever I'm cooking. So I'm going to set my pressure canner to go ahead and pressure can these, and it will be done momentarily. And then here we go. Now I've got all these wonderful cans of chicken stock. As you can see, I've been a busy girl canning away over here, making all sorts of things, homemade goodies to be able to store in my canning closet. If you like this, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.